Our topic for lunch today, as inquired by my 14 and 13-year-old, is it's sexual behaviors. No, sexual relationships. Educational. Yeah. It's like you're ramen down to that. My kids love ramen noodles. You ready? Sexy relationships. Oh, good. Here comes Brianna. All right. So, get off there. Sexual relationships, I can't read it, may be motivated by many factors. Physical attractiveness is one. Romantic love is another. Some other ones, status, security, profit. Religion and law influence our sexual morality. This is why it's different from one culture to the next. The ancient Jewish doctrines forbade many sexual behaviors. As found in the book of Leviticus, here comes Corey, part of the Jewish Torah and the Old Testament, God gave Moses a list of no-nos. Adultery, no. Incest, no. Sex between menstruation, no. That would be the normal thing. Sex during menstruation, no. Sex between men, no. Sex with animals, no. But it's okay to have premarital sex. Okay. Christianity began with the negative views of sexual expression. Well, Jesus is the model. He was celibate, which meant that he was, unattached and sexually inactive. And they believe that sex is intended for procreation, for making the babies. Fornication. Sex between unmarried couples, masturbation, and nocturnal emissions or wet dreams. Bad. Some religions are more permissive than Christianity. Contemporary, meaning modern, Judaism has two branches. Orthodox, which uses the Torah, they take it literally. And then there's Reform Judaism, which is much more liberal in sexy matters. Permitted to officiate gay marriages, for example. Islam's founder Muhammad was sexually active, had many wives. The founder of Buddhism, Siddhartha, praised homosexuality. Humanism has influenced American attitudes and laws. It derives moral principles from basic human worth, the ideals like equity, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of action, of worship.
Can I make an interjection real quick?
Yeah, you can make an interjection.
In this slideshow, from now on, you should touch on Norse relationships because they had a very, very interesting and a dynamic when it came to relationships. Not only were they mainly polyamorous and accepted love between everybody in, the area, but also they respected women a lot more than a lot of ancient traditions. And they, to the point where women could ask for divorce and say that they wanted a divorce. So you should look into that and put that in your slides too.
Okay.
I feel like that would be a really cool addition.
Yes, we'll do that for the future, but it appears that you've already taken care of it. So for this class, although we are going to talk about polyamory later. And you weren't here last Thursday, were you?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, many of you weren't because you dirty dogs, you didn't read. And so you're like, well, I ain't going to that class.
Oh, no, anyway. I have, is The Naked Ape is what you're talking about reading? I was reading that. It's very interesting, but I've been ill for a really long time.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't really care. But we did talk about monogamy and polyamory. And
cool. Very cool.
Or monogamy, actually.
I wish I would have been there. Sorry, I missed it.
I'm sorry you missed it too. It sounds like you had a lot to offer. So we're going to talk about it later. Then I'm going to ask you some questions. Not just you, all of you. I think you gave me COVID just by looking at you, Alyssa. You gave me the COVID. Yeah. What's that?
What an awful thing to say.
I know. You look so disinterested, though.
No, I have RBF. I'm sorry.
RBF? I have RBF.
You get it.
Resting beautiful face.
Right.
Many of the controversies about sexual matters reflect tension between humanism and Christianity. Ira Reese showed that the more affectionate, intimate, and committed the relationship, the more likely people are to accept sexual acts as more acceptable. So know these next three pieces here. Those who believe that sex is for procreation only are the most restrictive about sex acts. Those who believe that sex is for recreation, they're also the least restrictive about sex acts. Those who believe that sex is for forming relationships are also most supportive of sex acts, but only while in a committed relationship. See the difference? That's right. Like, yeah, we can try that, but we got to get married first. Demographic factors that affect sexual attitudes. When it comes to sex, women disapprove of casual non-marital sex more than men. When it comes to age, older people have more traditional views on sex. When it comes to education, here we go again. Higher education level correlates with higher permissiveness. The region depends, right? The South in America is more likely to have a traditional view on sex. Race or ethnicity matters. African Americans and Mexican Americans tend to be less approving of homosexuality, and yet they have the highest rates of it. Religion. American Catholics disagree with the Vatican on sexual issues. As in, like, all right, look, we can let people be gay. It's cool. Like, take it easy. You know? Now, Americans' attitudes have changed over time. When they asked, based on the left, your y-axis is your level of education. I would prefer the graduate to be at the top, then the college, then the high school, then the no high school, just because it makes more sense. But I guess if you're looking at it this way, you're talking about who believe that extramarital sex is always wrong, and the more education you have, the less you think it's wrong. Is that surprising? I mean, everything else is sexier for graduate people and higher educated people, so it makes sense. Americans' attitudes have changed over time. Attitudes in other countries differ from. Oh wait, hold on a second. They're showing you how it's changed over time. Sorry about that. The only one that none of them went down. Yeah. Okay. Attitudes in other countries differ from those in the United States. Half of Americans think it's wrong to have a child out of wedlock. Over 80% of Indians polled felt the same. Indians, as in India, not feather.
They still think it's wrong, like in 2020?
They did in 2012, which is when they did this.
Outdated.
You're outdated. Get your hair cut.
Oh, wow.
Casual sex has more appeal to men than women. I know, this is surprising. Casual sex is sexual intercourse that takes place outside of a durable sexual relationship. Clark and Hatfield, I love this study. It's my favorite study ever, I think, ever. They had attractive people approach opposite sex students. These people asked the person of the opposite sex, who they deemed was attractive, one of the three questions. Did you go home with me tonight? And they asked someone else. Did you come over to my apartment tonight? And they asked a different person. Did you go to bed with me tonight? They asked attractive men to approach women and attractive women to approach men. What do you think happened?
I think women responded better to "Would you go out with me tonight?" and men responded best to "Would you go to bed with me tonight?"
Correct. It's the exact inverse of each other, right? Sexy man comes up to a woman and says, "You go out with me tonight?" She's like, "Yeah, man, I'm into it. You're cute." Men are like, "This is gonna cost me some money. I know it, right?" "Would you come over to my apartment tonight?" Mel's like, "Yes, I will. I will do that. You just tell me where and when." Right? Women are like, "Get out of here, creep." Then would you go to bed with me tonight? Men are like, "Yeah, I already said I would go over to your apartment. Why wouldn't I go to bed with you?" Right? That's not true because they're two different groups of people. But women are like, "I'm calling the cops now.
Oh, wow.
Goodbye."
And like these are all people that like don't know each other. It's just like an
Correct.
attractive person.
Correct. Doesn't it seem awfully high though? I know, right? This does seem like Like I would expect, honestly, I would expect it to be like, I don't know, more level for the men for some reason.
Out of how many though?
How many were? Well, we would have to look it up, the actual study. To
Well, I'm
know.
saying, yeah, if it wasn't like a lot of men, then probably, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's a study done correctly, they should have taken care of the sample size. That should have been addressed. Casual sex again has more appeal to men than women. Hooking up is the new norm. Uncommitted sexual intimacy with an acquaintance. Booty calls. Friends with bennies. We see
Ooh.
this more and more in young women.
Mm.
Suck my teeth at you. Casual sex is more accepted in gay communities, especially gay men without steady partners. Why? Because gay men are not restrained by the woman's reluctance to engage in casual sex.
Not at all. We don't
Not
care.
worried about pregnancy. I'm gonna snap. Gay men are already stigmatized by society for their sexual orientation. They're less likely to give a crap.
Hmm.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
I have input.
Okay, but okay, we're gonna keep our. Okay, go ahead. Never mind.
No, what? Say, I'm curious.
I said on
Yeah.
the first. I said on the
Say it.
first day, I said on the first day of class that I absolutely want feedback. I want you to participate. I want you to whatever, but I don't want anyone saying much about themselves or their experiences because I don't want. Okay, because I don't want. These are recorded. You know what I mean? I don't want that to be a thing that someone would regret. Saying or.
I'm just in addition to the kind of like less likely to pay attention to public opinion about casual sex.
Yeah.
It's not well, it is that, but it's also like in the earlier times, gay men had to just have like quick on the table casual sex because they couldn't be seen with
Right.
it with like another man in that kind of light. So like any and all like physical connection had to be the kind of like casual, quick, fast kind of thing. Like they didn't have the opportunity to have a relationship so much.
Yep. Okay. 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 So you're saying, in addition to this information, you should also know that it's traditionally, historically, these hookups have been rather quick
Mhm.
and hidden.
Yeah, because they had to be. Yeah.
Yes. Which is kind of how things. Would you say that things are changing, where it's not so publicly unacceptable, and so as a result, they're like, I'm here, I'm queer. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm also like I am one gay in the midst. And so like I don't really know
Right.
much of how it's changing,
Yeah,
but from like what I'm seeing, it's kind of like we're still carrying on the torch of like gay sex is just like there's a pressure to kind of be a part of the hookup culture because that's what it's been like for so long
Yeah.
that we don't really have the opportunity or the like security to change.
Yes. I will say, though, regardless of one's sexual orientation, we can still note that things are changing. I mean, look at the Proud Boys hashtag. Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
So I mean, we're better than we were. We're just not right yet.
Yeah, and like it for anything, it takes time to like actually change things that have been so ingrained in
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Stupid. I know. Yeah. Now you depressed me.
That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it's like if you were my son and if he responded with, it's going to take time, I would be like, God dang it. Like, it shouldn't. We should, no, this is not fair. This is BS, man. You have a right to be happy. You have a right to not be, you know, ridiculed or to be looked differently I don't know. It just upsets me. I don't like. I don't know. I'd rather people be angry sometimes. But anyway,
You're right. Speak about that. You're right. You're right. You're right to be upset.
I am.
That's a
Yeah.
good.
Thank you. I agree. All right. Negotiating sex involves flirting. People use stereotyped methods of negotiating sex, but women often take the first step by looking, approaching, and talking to a man. They'll smile, they'll prolong their eye contact, lick their lips, playing with their hair, raising their skirt slightly, walking by, swaying hips, pushing their breasts out a little bit. And these are similar to proceptive behaviors seen in non-human animals. It's interesting now. Next time I want you guys, when you guys go out to a club or, I don't know, bar or whatever, if you're old enough, um, watch people. Like you can tell when people are hooking up. You can tell when they're not together yet. They're getting together. They synchronize their movements. Like if she moves forward, he kind of moves back a little bit. If she moves back, he moves forward. It's almost like they're dancing, just talking. You know, the way they move their head, their arms, like they're like syncing up. It's really interesting. Humans are animals. Google images of Facebook girl. Saw about presentation from above. Dating relationships are often short-lived. Right? These are non-marital sexual relationships between two persons who do not live together but who see each other on a regular basis. Serial monogamy, I often ask this question. It's dating a succession of partners over a period of time. So you're doing it in a series, but you're still monogamous. Corey, what are you drinking?
You're spilling the tea, so I'm just sipping it.
Okay. It looked like a Chardonnay.
I wish.
It had a pinkish hue to it.
It is. It's raspberry hibiscus tea.
You had me at raspberry. I don't know about the hibiscus.
I don't even know what it is, but
Me
it's
either.
purple and pink, and
It's a delicious tropical flower, and it's really good for you. Hibiscus is great.
it also matches my outfit. So
No?
that's all I really care about.
I like tea. I like cold tea. First dates may follow a script. Man expects sex on the first date, and this increases with alcohol.
Oh.
What is the man's script? Man picks up the woman, plans and pays for the activities, initiates any sexual intimacy, and takes the woman home. The woman accepts or rejects. Accepts or rejects. Accepts or rejects.
Women
Fair
are
question.
hard.
Is this just American culture? Is that what we're talking about?
No.
Because there's not a lot of places I don't think that do that.
There's not a lot of places that do that.
No,
Well,
not. I don't mean a lot, but like more like South countries don't, right?
South countries. No,
I mean, like,
men
feel like-
typically court women. They typically court women because they can afford to be romantic, and women have to be more pragmatic.
what about the whole like no sex before marriage thing? Like a lot of people go by that.
A
By, like,
sexual
religion.
intimacy could be just kissing.
But you said sex on the first date.
They expect it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean they're getting it.
All right.
We
Yo,
so with the men expecting sex on the first date, would that mean that they expect a like the relationship to follow with that, or would they just expect casual sex?
more often than not, the expectation would be that it's casual.
Okay.
Like,
And
what
then
about the places where they sew the vaginas up and stuff?
Ow, 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 ow.
Well, that would be different, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and like more like
They-
Buddhist people and stuff like that.
No, Buddhists don't do that.
Not that I can't really. Never mind. I sound stupid. I'm gonna stop now.
No, it's okay. I get what you're saying. It's more people who are indigenous, like.
I think there are lots of different cultural differences and lots of situational differences that could change this script dramatically.
Yeah, that's all I'm
And-
saying. I feel like this is more like American. Like I feel like that's like United States kind of thing.
Well, and also take for example the homosexuality thing we were talking about before. Like, there can't really be a lot of valid studies done on how homosexual relationships even go. You know, there's just so many different types of relationships. I think it's so crazy that, I'm no offense, but this is taught in such a black and white way. Relationships are so much more complicated than this. Like,
Yeah.
there's
I mean,
so many different facets.
yeah, there are always going to be exceptions to everything you read in every textbook, except for math, and maybe some sciences, but there are always going to be exceptions. This is not to suggest that every single interaction when it comes to a date goes this way, or that that's the expectation either. The author of this textbook, Simon LeVay, is an openly gay man. He knows his stuff. Like, he's legit. Like, one of the articles we're going to read later this semester is, you'll see.
This just sounds so American. That's why I'm pointing it out.
You sound so American.
This sounds so American. Like, that's what happens all the time around here. But I don't hear anything like about other countries like expecting all of this. You know,
Okay, this
American and white Christian. Like,
Christian, yes.
Godfather.
very.
Okay, think of, all right, look, this happens all over Europe. This happens all over Asia. This happens all over most of Africa.
Yeah, but they're not like hillbillies. That's
All
what I'm
over
saying.
South America. What?
They're not hillbillies. Like, I'm talking about like hillbillies. Like, I feel like they're worse up here. Like, they're like, come have sex with me. Like, that's how they act though up here. Like, I feel like Europe isn't like that. Like, well, madam, like, can you please have sex with me? I feel like it's different, you know?
No.
Like, they're
Adam,
nicer
will you
about it. Up
please
here,
have
they're
You
sex
not.
don't think there's cultural differences in the way we perceive consent? I think there is.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think on every level, culturally, the way we perceive consent is affected. I think.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
I
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is weird to me.
I don't disagree with you. But
Consent is very widely perceived by your cultural. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, some women in some cultures are raised to be very consenting. You better be consenting. And then in our culture, it is very much more about what we accept or reject right now because of the feminism movement and how far women have come in this country.
It's still part of the script. They accept or reject. In other cultures, they say, you better be rejecting. You better be rejecting. You better be rejecting. It's still part of the script. It says or, not women accept. That would be black and white.
All valid points, everyone. Good job.
I'm not even for the record, I'm not even disagreeing with you. And for what you are putting in, it doesn't argue what this says up here either. It doesn't.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm just pointing out something. I feel like we're learning a lot about more of our culture than others. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, these are cultural universals. It'll say when it's American.
I understand. I'm done talking.
Are you? So I guess
Nobody's rebuttaling you. I'm giving you my input.
No, good. I like it. That's good. Fine. Whatever. Same-sex dates have their own scripts. They may have difficulty achieving intimacy because of internal homophobia. The person who provides the drinks and transportation accrues a degree of entitlement.
Yep.
Dating relationships may evolve rapidly. The tendency to idealize the partner stabilizes the relationship, even though there are many other options available.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you're dating, you're like, oh my God. Love is an emotional glue that holds couples in sexual relationships.
Oh.
It's celebrated in poetry, it's celebrated in art. But no consensus has been reached on what exactly love is. What is love? Oh, God. I do that every time. Hurt me no more. There are different kinds of love, like the love parents have for a child. Romantic love, which is emotional, spiritual action. Passionate love, sexual longing. And there's a difference between being in love and loving. Being in love, nothing they do is wrong. Loving, they got faults, but you look past them.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I gotta lower my hand now. Isn't it true that you can't be in love like forever? It goes away. Always.
The first year is like attachment love, and then after that, or no, the first year is real love, and then after that it's just attachment love.
Something like you can't be in love forever. You can love somebody, but you can't be in love. So like after some of your chemicals are like,
I'm
You know?
gonna say that
Habituation, you know what I'm saying?
right. Yes, very good, Alyssa. Very good. And Kaylee, listen, your point is noted. I when you say, isn't it true that you can't, I like how you pose that question. Isn't it true? Like I'm on like the
I heard it from a psychology class, I'm pretty sure. That's what I'm saying, but I can't remember. I
well,
can't say for sure.
you said, isn't it true that you can't? And I disagree with that. I think you can. I don't think
Oh,
it's likely. I don't think
oh.
it's common.
I thought it was like chemicals. Like it wasn't like your fault if you fall out of love. It's like chemicals.
Yeah, because of what Alyssa said, habituation. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The presentation of an unchanged stimulus
But
causes a
if
defensive response.
if your partner stimulates you in the right way in different ways for long enough,
Which is
that's
what,
when habituation wouldn't occur.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
you'd
why
be
I said
getting
it's
that
possible to be in love forever.
right. Yeah.
But who's got
Yeah.
that energy? I ain't got that energy.
That's what I'm.
Right. Right.
Nobody got time for that. So being in love is an intense and erotic attraction that involves the idealization of a loved person.
Thank God.
Was romantic love a Western creation? Right?
Hmm.
Western civilized creation. Romantic love. Okay, because before then, in other cultures, it was, and prior to writings that we found, Shakespearean stuff, these marriage was more like a contract, right? So being in love may be the justification for marriage or for sex. In the 60s, in surveys, 30% of women said that love was necessary. 60% of men said love was necessary.
Oh.
1984, over 80% for both sexes. This
Good.
was after women's economic independence. In the 90s, less than 4% said they would marry without loving. So we've changed. People who fall in love with attractive persons who show interest in them. People are more likely to fall in love when they are looking for it. Attractive people are easier to fall in love with.
Mm-hmm.
People need to show interest in each other for love.
Mm-hmm.
When asked, did you ever experience love at first sight? 44% of the men in the survey said yes, and 36% of the women said yes.
I mean, attraction though, right? Because they can't love.
They're saying love at first sight. So what are they saying? Right. Okay.
It's a broad term.
Yeah.
Kayla, you're bumping me out, okay? Love exists.
I don't
It's
believe
a
it.
vibe. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
I'm done with this class. I'm over it. I'm gonna go home.
Corey. Well, I mean, I guess the idea, what they're saying is, and Kelly's point is a good one, and that is, well, what is love? Like, can you really find someone so attractive you just love them now?
There's no way.
I'm gonna die alone.
I'm not
Unless,
for it.
okay. So this is why I wish I was here for the last class, because like I have a very specific stance on polyamory, and I see it as like a sexual orientation versus a sexual identity, because there are people who can feel love unconditionally for everyone, knowing that everything is part of the same system, and knowing that looking at another person is looking at oneself. You can feel unconditional love for everything that exists because it is part of you, and the better for everything is the better for you, and knowing that can make you love everything on site.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That like I feel like saying fall in love is like kind of I don't think it's good because
it's a stigma. It's a stigma,
yeah,
unfortunately.
that's what I mean.
But
I'm like, oh dang.
yeah,
I
there's a
don't think
lot
you
of
can go
ways
like
in
that.
which like we view love toxically, though. Like we view love
Yeah.
like ownership, but love is just what we are to me, like
Yeah,
love
that's what I
is
mean. Like, oh, I fell in love with this person because I looked at him. I feel like that's a little bit much. Like, unless you understand it, like.
right.
Are you two finished?
Jared.
Well, the thing is that, yeah, Alyssa's right. You can look at people differently. You can love more than one person. That's true. That's true. I mean, I don't think there's anyone's going to argue with that. I think, thank you. Got a glass of water for no reason. Did I sound harsh? But the question posed really in that first chapter talking about monogamy and the benefits thereof were the benefits of survival of the species. because we didn't have that higher level of thinking that you are saying, Alyssa and Kaylee, that higher capacity to think about things that way. So haven't we all seen someone who we thought was the most beautiful person in the world? Some of us haven't, and some of us have. I have.
Every time I look in a mirror.
Yeah, me too.
Quiet baby. Was that Angela? It sounded like Angela.
Yes, it was Angela.
Right? I mean, yeah. So is that love? What is love? I'm going on. Is that okay? Is everybody?
Yes, I'm depressed. Just keep going.
Okay.
Moving along.
Love cements many relationships. Researchers are probing the biological bases of love. Do non-human animals fall in love? You betcha. Many species demonstrate the behaviors to our own. Monogamy in prairie voles and many others. This attachment is mediated by oxytocin and vasopressin. These are both released by the posterior pituitary gland. It's for bonding, right? So even brain imaging techniques have found that dopaminergic neurons, the ones that are responsible for pleasure, reward, novelty, right? These become active in the presence of a lover, which is similar to the euphoric action of cocaine. One theory proposes that love has three components: passion, intimacy, and commitment. Passion, an overwhelming feeling of attraction that's typical of the early stage of a loving relationship. Intimacy, think of like intimate, like I'm close, right? A sense of connectedness in an established relationship. And commitment, the cognitive component of love, the decision to maintain a relationship. And so there are varying levels.
Okay.
Hey, Jesse. Ooh. Sorry. No, I'm not really sorry. So if we have
Very bad.
okay, if we have high of some things and low of others, you have liking, for example, where the intimacy is high. Okay, the passion and the commitment are low. It's almost like a friend. Now, you're close to the person, but there's no sexual longingness. You're not really committed to it either. And there's infatuation, where the passion is high, but there's no connectedness and there's no commitment. And there's empty love, where you're in a committed relationship, but there's no passion and there's no closeness. And there's romantic love. Now you got a combo platter number 2 of intimacy and passion being high, but there's low commitment. Then companionate love. The intimacy, the closeness, and the commitment is high, but the passion's low. Like your companion, like your buddy, right? Fatuous love, passion and commitment, but there's no, we don't know each other, right? And then here's what I would ask you in a question, probably: consummate, the all-consuming consummate love. We have all three: passion, intimacy, and commitment.
I don't have work on Thursday. Tuesday, whatever.
Unrequited love is painful for both parties.
Uh,
Love that is not reciprocated. The suitor, the person who is seeking a romantic relationship, versus the rejecter, the person who is not.
Hey, I know all about this.
Most of us do. I know. I should take. It's funny because I'll bring this up in my intro classes or something, and I'll ask the class. I'll be like, "How many of you have never been dumped?" And there are people that raise their hand, and I'm like, "What life do you live?" Yeah, see, there's one right there. Dirty dog right there. She's a heartbreaker.
really prefers to break the hearts and make a stew out of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then she buys herself a new outfit like she should.
Well, pay attention, Kaylee, because now you're going to see the damage you've done to these poor souls.
I'm fine with it. I support.
Rejection in love damages your self-worth. It's painful. It's humiliating. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel rejected. Most people emerge unscathed, and in some cases might learn and benefit from the experience. This is really just a cognitive.
Unscathed. That's such a weird word.
It's like unscarred, you know. I didn't write. I mean, I made the slides, but I didn't write the idea.
Well, love is a fiery booby trap of hell. So if you have to come out unscathed,
Love is a fiery thing.
oh my god,
You know that song, Corey?
I do.
Okay. What you said reminded me of it. Okay. So some do not do so well. You heartbreakers. You cold, selfish, obsessive relational intrusion. Now it's an obsessive pursuit of a person by a rejected lover. But it only becomes stalking if it puts the person in fear. The rejector. Let's see if this lines up with Kaylee's experiences. Kaylee, did you feel guilty for having led the person on? Even if you didn't mean to, even if it was a small degree. Did you feel guilt because you didn't return their affection because you violated a social norm of reciprocity?
I don't owe them anything,
You
so
feel guilty for humiliating the
Never.
person?
nope.
You're like, I just
Next question.
Kaylee's my inner
put
child.
Montreal steak seasoning on the heart and
Next scholar.
set it on the grill. We think that we are free from social environmental influences when it comes to sexual relationships, but nope. Our parents, friends, media, they all set it up. They all mold what we expect a sexual relationship to be. Relationship styles are influenced by our childhood attachments, right? The attachment theory, the idea is that the relationship styles are influenced by the quality of the early parent-child bond, right? So if you got a secure attachment with your parents, you're gonna have a secure attachment with your lovers, your friends.
Oh no, I've got daddy issues.
Got daddy issues.
Shit.
I've got daddy and mommy issues, so don't worry, hon.
We all got
let's
issues.
how about
Let's go.
Let's go.
What's going on? Oh, we all got issues?
Yep.
Oh, it's a black sheep party up in here, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think you're taking this class?
Because it's required.
You are coming for blood.
Yeah, she always is. I bite. Did you make this for lunch?
I need that letter of recommendation. I take it back.
Yeah. That's true. I'm gonna say, to whom it may concern, don't you dare take this dirty dog in. She's a heartbreaker.
She doesn't break them. She puts them into more useful things like stew and crushing them under her shoes so she doesn't get her feet dirty. I mean, she's not breaking them. She's just using them to her
You
advantage.
have the ideas, Corey.
I support. Every time I like someone, I just got to remind my Kaylee self, like, bitch, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, there are Kayleys out there, everybody. Watch out. Secure versus insecure attachment. A secure attachment is a strong, trusting parent-child bond. Insecure attachment can persist into adulthood that can influence how well they relate to peers and romantic peers, partners, whatever. There are two basic kinds: the avoidant, where the person will avoid intimacy, and the anxious, ambivalent, where they fear separation, the clingers.
Mm.
Okay, so what could happen, right? I mean, how could this happen? Is it the kid's fault? Is it the parents' fault? It's not always the parents' fault. Sometimes it's the genetics that influence the environmental parenting style. For example, our temperament. When we come out, we got a difficult temper. If we're like a baby that doesn't eat well, sleep well, and is always cranky, parents can have a hard time bonding to that piece, right? And in your textbook, it writes this. That's why I put it in quotes. For example, sissy boys may result in the father rejecting their son if he's a dink.
No.
I had to add that in. Relationship styles are influenced by communities. There's an enormous difference seen between within the U.S. urban populations. We have sub-communities in our populations. People living in one geographical range will rarely leave it, like, for example, Little Italy, Little China, and this, as a result, will limit our mate selection. We also absorb the community standards.
Mm-hmm.
Remember homophily, where we're attracted to people with our own traits? Well, these similarities include height, eye color, physical attractiveness, intelligence, and personality. Homogamy, where we have sexually partnered couples or married couples who resemble each other in a variety of aspects. I couldn't find many examples. This actually is a married couple who do resemble each other. That's Kate, whatever her name is. This is a man who had a computerized version of himself as a woman, and he ended up ranking himself more attractive as a woman here. Not as a woman, but he found that woman to be more attractive than other women, and he didn't realize it looked a lot like him, or she looked a lot like him. And these are persons just loving themselves in a mirror. I don't know. I couldn't.
Oh, that's nice.
Actually, this one's Quiet Baby, and then this one is Corey.
Yep.
I can tell because of the clothes.
I know. I love that outfit actually.
Yeah. Couples interviewed early on in the
You're just jealous.
I am jealous. Oh, I know. You definitely have a better physique than me, and style, and age. I know. I am jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
You're only 2 years older than me. It's fine. I'll catch up.
We'll say that. We'll go with that. Let's go with that. That's fine. So couples interviewed early on in their relationships. Those who reported that they communicated well were also satisfied with the relationship years later. Those who reported that they communicated poorly were also dissatisfied with the relationship years later. And those who reported that they communicated aggressively weren't together.
Where do you find these pictures?
I think I looked up verbal aggression or something.
Hmm.
I Googled things.
Your work history must be fantastic.
My what now?
I would love to see your computer history at work.
Oh, right. Yeah, You're right. Communication may be inhibited by upbringing or by the gender barrier, the reluctance to discuss sexuality between partners. Parents, for example, tend to not discuss genital anatomy or even sex with their children. And so the children then begin to think that it's taboo to talk about. And there's a gender barrier. Many don't want to discuss for fear of uncovering the mystery of sex. But there are many ways to communicate what you like. Men and women label things differently for comfort. Pussy versus vagina, dick versus penis. These cultural differences are seen also in Asian American and Hispanic American, where the women will experience marital silence, right? Speak only when you're spoken to.
I got a question.
Yes, you do.
The word pussy, though, it's used to demean men, right? It was originally because it makes them say that they're a girl or something. So I think that's why people really don't like using the word. Well, for me, I guess. I don't know.
It's a shortened version of the word pusillanimous, which means cowardly.
Okay.
Dang, I didn't know that. How'd you just have that in your head like that?
I like words.
But
I don't know.
I feel like people who used it probably didn't know that though.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you say it was? Can you repeat the word one more time?
Pusillanimous.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Pusillanimous.
Pusillanimous.
Sounds kind of like pukey.
I'm gonna
Sure,
start saying that instead of.
Sure, it's not
instead of-
pusillanimous. But hold on a second, though. Men and women, especially men, use pussy instead of vagina. Right. Okay. So I didn't really understand your feedback on that one. I didn't understand what you were
Me?
Well, it's kind of like pussy is related to like scaredy cat, and also because women are like seen as more likely to be scared.
Yeah.
So like it's connected to their anatomy. So like pussy is
Yeah,
feminine
it was
because it's
used
feminine to be scared.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but my question was, why don't they use vagina?
Because it's more comfortable to say pussy.
Yeah, see, I can read the words that I put up on that slide too. Why is it why is it more comfortable to say that word instead of vagina though?
Because
not for
vagina
me.
is very clinical.
Not for me.
It's easier for you to
It's
say
not for me, Chief.
Kayla, you're saying it's easier for you to say vagina.
Vagina, yes. I don't want to say the P word. I don't like that word.
Yeah, that's fine. But we're really talking mostly about men though.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying.
Okay.
I know. I'm just saying it's used to demean them too. So it's.
Right. I know, because women have their own nicknames for vagina, don't they? Sure they do.
Yeah.
Vajayjay. Hoo-ha.
Tutu.
Tutu? Oh, I never heard that one. What are the origins of that one, Jesse?
I have no idea.
Or
I was just
Katie?
told
I've
to say
never heard of that one.
as a kid I had to say that.
Okay. All good talks. All good talks. Premarital programs teach communication skills. Couples practice interaction in a formalized manner. Basically, it's a back and forth of making clear statements and provide feedback that you're acknowledging. Understand. I've heard what you said. You do the dishes more than me. I heard you. I understand it. But you're lying. No, I'm just kidding. Self-disclosure facilitates trust.
Nothing to the table.
Nothing.
I want that shirt. I want that shirt.
That should be on all of my dating profiles.
See. Self-disclosure predicts satisfaction in a relationship and a likelihood that the relationship will endure. So how a couple deals with conflict affects the stability of the relationship. Expression of anger is not necessarily a bad thing. Couples who express themselves are more satisfied with their relationship. Women who don't express themselves are 4 times more likely to a chance of dying within 10 years. Yeah, what?
Living for a long time then.
Stress is a
too.
bitch. Keep it
Me
in.
too.
That's right. You gotta let that puppy out. Negative emotions must be balanced with positive ones. Behavioral couples therapy focuses on improving styles of communication between the partners, and emotionally focused couples therapy uncovers the emotional problems that harm the relationships. So one is talking about, well, what's the problem and what's the emotion is the idea. Problem focused, emotion focused. Jealousy, right? Jealousy, a fear that a partner may be sexually or emotionally unfaithful. Sexual jealousy, fear that the partner will engage in sexual contact with another. Emotional jealousy, fear that the partner will become emotionally committed to another. Jealousy can actually have a positive function. Evolutionary psychologists see jealousy as having been selected for by inescapable pressures. Females have more biological contribution to reproduction, and they also know the offspring are theirs. So as a result, females are concerned their mates would supply resources to another, and the males are concerned they may devote resources to someone else's baby.
Ouch.
Right? So as a result, males, as a carryover from our ancestors, will experience sexual jealousy more than females, and females will experience emotional jealousy more than males.
I'm pretty. I don't know. I get pretty emotionally jealous more than I get physically jealous. I'm way more likely to forgive you for cheating, like physically, than I am for you to be like confessing your feelings to somebody over the phone.
Mm-hmm. So that's okay. So these are tied to reproduction.
Mm.
Unless you plan to have children.
I've been trying to get pregnant for years.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I don't think it works.
I think I'm barren.
You're sterile?
Yep.
Barren. That's what you said, right? Okay.
Cone, you know that thing that you just said about like saying things you might regret?
No regrets. And if you could see the list of people I've been with, I have no regrets. Just lessons to be learned.
Yeah, you wonder about that, don't you?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Life's too short for regrets. Just move through the lesson and go forth and do other good stuff.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I never took being dumped as lessons. I took it as pain.
Oh, I didn't say I wasn't crazy. There were some times, but my therapist says afterwards it's a lesson.
Right. See the benefits there are? Right.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. Alyssa was waiting for this one. Extra pair relationships. Sexual relationships in which at least one of the partners is already married to a partner or partner with someone else. This is met with social disapproval. Monogamy is considered ideal. Okay.
I frown upon marriage in general. I don't know what marriage has to do with anything. That's just a stupid piece of paper.
Wasn't it just for like kings and queens and stuff like that, like marrying into family so they could share wealth and stuff. That's what it was made for. Then it was marketed to like, oh, you love each other, so here, spend money on a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, big scam, huge scam, just a big scam. Don't ever get married. It's a scam.
There's
Yeah,
no love.
it's
There's
a
no wedding.
it's a contract essentially that ensures that the resources from one go to the other.
It's like leasing and
It's
But you can get like a prenup.
as much as I would call it like.
Then if you get a prenup, then what's the point?
Right now,
I want their money if I'm getting married.
Now it becomes something else. You know what it is more than anything else today? A symbol. It's a gesture.
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, that's okay if you really want to. I'm not saying putting it down, but like I don't like pressure on myself. Like I have to be married to like love somebody. That's how it is in today's world still. Like I feel like a lot of families are like that. Well, you can't love somebody unless you're married. You can't have a baby unless you're married. That's how it is still.
That's all old people. Us young people are
Yeah,
changing.
but like our parents still, I feel like.
Don't worry, they'll die out.
Well,
That's what I'm hoping for.
that can't be true though entirely, because if love is a prerequisite for marriage, then you have to love someone before you can marry them.
But it hasn't always been a prerequisite, and there's a whole bunch of ways you can get coerced into marrying someone. Like, take for me, for instance, I was in the military, and they were like, we'll pay you thousands more.
Generation before me, it was all a prerequisite. So
I guess. I don't know.
Because it was not a long time ago doesn't mean it doesn't exist today.
Sorry, I misspoke. You love somebody, but you can't. It's not real. It's not solidified unless you get married.
Right, and everyone else is ours.
Yeah.
This is just going downhill fast.
No, I mean, this is. Kaylee brought this up earlier in the semester, I believe. You said you don't want to get married. Didn't she say that?
Yeah, I said that.
So now we're coming back full circle. Alyssa, I was talking, and I'm one of those people that I'll just keep right on talking. But you were trying to say something. What did you want to say?
Sorry, I got a call just now. I'm hoping it's not
ahead.
my doctor. Anyway, well, that thought train crashed.
That's
Sorry.
okay. If it
You
comes
said you were in
back,
the military.
Oh yeah, well I got. They were like, we'll pay you thousands more dollars a month if you get married, because because so that's what happened, and I regret. No, it's not a regret. It's a big lesson, but it was a big hard lesson.
Here we go. Yeah.
It was a huge hard lesson in my life.
Regret.
And,
Lessons learned
I
for
was
your
so young.
optimal level of success.
For them to look at someone and be like, you can't drink a beer, but you can kill for your country and make decisions that will literally change your life forever based on money. That's like crazy to me. I was in the military before I was 18 years old. That is wild to me. That they just let me in, and that's
Let me ask you this though. Do you think that when they ask you to be married, or that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. When they tell you that you are provided a higher salary if you're married than if you're not, right? Do you think they're targeting women in the military, or are they targeting men in the military?
It's really hard to know, because like there's a lot of laws that the military has to follow that civilians don't. It's called the UCMJ. It's like a whole set of laws, and like adultery is like literally illegal. So like if you cheat and get caught, if you are a military spouse or in the military, that will have like extreme detriment to your life. Like you'll get in trouble by the military. That's against the law. They'll take like half your money forever. So
Okay.
So I don't know if it's what it's a target towards.
I mean, don't you
Maybe it's a faulty system that is meant to help, but really just, I mean, you see so many problems coming from this, like people just getting married on an agreement and being like, yeah, we'll be friends with benefits and have these benefits together.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to fall in love with somebody else and you're going to feel done wrong because we've been living together under this BAH. That happens like so often, and it messes people over way more than it benefits.
Yeah. So what percentage of the military do you think are women?
Like
If you had to throw a number out there,
like a solid 20 maybe.
You think so you believe it's 20%?
Yeah, it's getting larger by the year, but because of like acts that are making equality more acceptable, like females are now being offered spots on submarines where that was not a thing before. So like there's more positions open for females, and that's not to say that more females are wanting to join. I don't know that ratio,
Well,
but
I was asking what females do join that are
yeah. So I think it's probably coming up to be like
at least
25%
20.
of females.
I really don't know, but I'm pretty sure that there were more men in the military than women.
I mean, yeah,
And
yes,
I feel
definitely.
pretty sure that when they came out with this benefit for married men, they were targeting men, not women. And what they were doing is they were offering more financial support for the spouses, because this is not a new bill. This is not a new,
No.
you know. So I really don't. It is messed up, Alyssa. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm legitimately trying to figure out how it went from helping the spouses of military people, essentially, to them saying get married. There's a benefit to it, and yes, a lot of people do that. You're right.
Mhm.
It's
And
weird.
I think it's just one of those things that looks great on paper,
Yeah.
like communism, like
Yeah.
it looks fantastic, and then you have people that corrupt it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's something that just needs to be revised a lot and hasn't been given enough because of what the military is used for now. And honestly, like it's not about quality of life, unfortunately, anymore. So.
Yeah. All right, I have like 4 more slides. We're gonna move on, okay? All right. Thank you for sharing that, though, Liz. I appreciate that. I mean, it's personal, but not too personal. All right. All right. So the proximal means the now. The evolutionary means like the ultimate factors or causes that influence fidelity, right? So what are some reasons not to cheat? Morals, right? Concern for the partner's feelings, the fear of the consequences of doing it. Now the reasons to cheat: lack of physical satisfaction, lack of communication, love issues, prolonged absence. The evolutionary roots of infidelity. Promiscuity is common among non-human animals. Males engage in it because it's a relatively inexpensive way to make more babies. Females may engage to acquire the best resources and genes available. Evolutionary psychologists say that humans are just as influenced. Do you agree? What about symmetry? What about good genes? Men viewed more leniently with infidelity than women. Men are viewed more leniently or treated more leniently with infidelity than women. Women are more likely to forgive, again, because of the emotional, not the sexual. Extra pair relationships are uncommon. 90% of women report being faithful, and 75% of men report being faithful. One study found that women are 6 times more likely to report their infidelity, though. So what percent of men and women cheat on their spouses in America? Turns out about 30 to 50% of U.S. men have at least one extramarital affair, and 20 to 40% of U.S. women at least one extramarital affair. A lot higher than you thought, isn't it? No, of course not. Kaylee knew that all along. She's always on top of it. All right, I'm going to stop recording.